So I'll just make a little macro. All right. Okay. Management meeting, April 27th, 2021. Let's just go around. Michelle, what do you got?
So the thing that I forgot last time was, nope, I mentioned it and then I never looked it up again, didn't I? It was Mia's issue that was related to displaying documents and allowing people to email it to themselves. And I still need to look that up. So that will go in my notes. So another thing is to check in on the 209A motion to modify. Has that gone live? Is there other work that needs to be done before it can go live? My understanding was no, but I wasn't sure what the next step was. Quentin,
Okay.
maybe?
Yeah, so Quentin talking about that in the thread.
Or maybe I didn't catch a reply.
Nope, I didn't reply. I think it's all good on my side. I think we had 3 people who were supposed to look at it. So as far as
It was you
good.
and Kate. From what I understood, it was you and Kate said it was fine and she doesn't need to look at it again. And which is fair. She's looked at it a lot and not much has changed.
I said, I volunteered Katie to look at it. I spoke with her this morning. She said, if you give me the link, I'll send it to her.
Oh, okay. I'll update it in the test server. I need to write this all down.
And then the other thing, the really concrete action is something David needs to do. So make sure everything is up to date in the spreadsheet. And then help me do that.
I should make sure everything's up to date in the spreadsheet.
If there's any changes, is this a new form?
This is a new form.
Then yeah, it needs to be added as a element in the spreadsheet.
So where is
it? Might have been added by the first person who worked on it. So that's why I say, like, just check to make sure it's not already there. It needs to be enabled.
Okay.
Let me get the link for you, but it should be. So it should be added to the forms tag. This is the, I mean, it's one of the check mark items in the normal workflow. But I need to make sure.
Oh, but not the generic workflow. It'll be in the mass access workflow.
Yeah, I think it's in the mass access workflow. But the point is, there needs to be an entry added to that sheet.
Or edited, right?
Or edited. That's correct.
Okay. And I made a GitHub action for, I guess that's more of a stand-up thing. I can wait for that.
All right.
I think that's it that I can think of right now.
Okay, Quentin.
All right. Sorry, probably a little loud.
Yeah, a little bit windy.
Why don't you check in with me and like towards the end?
All right.
I'll be quieter.
I've moved you. All right. Bryce.
Yeah, I don't think I have any normal management stuff.
Tactical stuff might include reaching out to Callie or many folks. I know we had discussed that was something that you were going to do. Maybe we're not at that stage yet.
Yeah, still trying to. I'm still essentially trying. Like, it's a bit of a trade-off for me to try and like get the like stupidest bare minimum query to like Tyler stuff like right away and send it over versus like let me try and get something that would actually kind of work in a normal system. And I, without really probably like thinking about that choice, I feel like I probably made the latter. But yeah, no, that is yeah. Reaching out to Callie and stuff is still on my plate at least, and what I'm trying to work towards. But yeah, I think I feel like.
I'm sorry. My son is running around asking questions about post offices. I'm not quite sure what's going on. He wants to know if post offices have printers. I'm curious why he wants to know that. We have a printer. Oh, thank you, Bryce. Caroline. You're muted.
Caroline, you're on mute.
I don't think I have anything for Tactical Tuesday. I think I just have stand up. Yeah, I think that's it, right?
All right. Yeah, well, let's see if Quentin has anything and is in a quieter spot. Less windy spot, I suspect.
I'm not sure what would be stand up versus tactical, but I have a couple pull requests. Carol, I just want to check in to see how the CRA motion to dismiss, if that's circulating, and if you have thoughts on like whether we should wait before we publish it, or we can kind of say, hey, we're going to integrate feedback as people give it to us.
Yeah, I emailed them again today. I just need to, let me just see if I got it.
And then I'm working on migrating the 2.9a over to AL document. And it's going to be fairly large refactor. But I started with a small one, which is just moving everything over that we needed for translation to be updated, and that's done. It just kind of depends on how important it is to us to have the pet protection form integrated before we send it off for translation, which of course isn't really started yet. So that might take a while to do. But I think probably not more than like a week. It's not that long a form. But where things stand, basically, the AL document class is, it touches like there's like 8 or 9 files. We have to redo the addenda and then test that those all work correctly. I think it'll be worth it, but it may take a little while. So I started with a smaller pull request, which is just getting the translation stuff ready. I'd like to get that one merged when we can. And then that touched off changes in the assembly line repo. I'd like to integrate this, the first pass at speeding document generation up before we migrate to 9A. So hopefully people can take a look at those PRs that I've assigned them. Oh, and there's one more thing, David. So I'd asked, I don't know if this is more where our resources are for this, but there's a default right now which says that a form is e-fileable, which controls a couple of things really just in the intro screen. I think that it won't really affect any of our forms because the appeals court forms have their own intro screen. But I'd like to change that default just so that we don't have people making new forms that say that they're fileable in court when they're not.
I think that's an appropriate default change. And they only form, we only have 2 forms that I think that are currently filed with the trial court, which are the affidavit of infancy and the standalone, one part of.
It won't affect those because those are not on.
But they've already.
Those are not on the newest. They're on the old.
All right, then it won't. Yeah, then it won't affect any of our forms.
That's great.
Okay.
So I think that's right. Choice.
Quentin, can you just explain if we want to keep working on 209A? Are we?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it won't be a problem. I think it's going to be completely independent of other changes you make.
All right, I wasn't sure about that. Okay, that's fine. All right. I forgot to put the issue in that I was having a problem with the verb, and then I've got a couple of other little fixes. So I think that's good. Let me just say this one thing is that we did actually get feedback from almost the entire discipline group on the CRA. I asked them to use the feedback form, but they emailed me. So I'll forward.
Oh, great.
Do you want me to make them issues, or do you want me to just email it to you? How do you want me to do that?
I mean, if it's already in an email, I can make issues as well as you. That's no problem. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. So they're. It looks like they're all really excited about it, and they're.
Oh, good.
I think their issues are just tiny, like these should be 2 fields. Somebody doesn't like the back and the undo. Is very confused, but So what?
As a perennial issue of
Yes.
conflict.
I can
Right.
try and work on getting, it's just that they don't match. Is that the problem?
No, they don't know what undo means. They're used to
Wow.
seeing back buttons, and they don't know what undo means.
Yeah, well, which is it is the best of the options, given that before when it said back, it would undo. And
Undo,
it would
yeah.
be
I
really
think
frustrating.
it's better that they be confused and a little wary of the button than that they think they know what it does, right?
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
Yeah. I'm not worried about it. I just thought I would mention it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
a perennial.
Yeah.
It's actually a
Yeah.
really good problem to have, I think, in this circumstance. But
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Oh, I
right.
guess one more thing that we could add is we're potentially going to do another sprint to do some fixes in the assembly line and in the Weaver repository, thinking ahead to students starting. So people have issues that they want to get into that sprint or have ideas for things that should be priorities. We don't have to use time now unless people have big ones they want to bring up, but you could certainly use the issue list.
That might
Are
be
these
good to
summer
post.
students? Are these summer students or for September?
For the summer. For the summer,
Okay.
we'll probably have, I think, up to 10. Is that right, David?
Yeah, around then. I'm finishing up making offers and stuff to people this week. Some people have found other positions. I was going to hold off to
Okay.
talk about that more until after you were done, though. But
Okay.
They're
Yeah, but just the code side, I just want people to be aware of that we'll probably start to fix a 2-week sprint in the next week or two.
that might be good to mention on the channels like the boot camp channel and other and the main
people who might have
assembly
had
line
feedback.
channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are the people who, on the 209A with these changes that are going on, are the variables basically staying the same? Because if the variables are basically staying the same, we can try setting up regression tests for it. The interview variables.
So pretty minimal. I mean, go ahead and add whatever tests you want, but I'm trying to change the smallest scope that I can. But the AL document migration is there's a lot of output tests that we're going to have to
Yeah,
do, right,
yeah.
to make sure stuff still works.
Yeah, so by variables changing, I mean variables that are set by user input, right? So lots of variables can change and it won't affect the tests at all. It would just be the variable input changing. And if we set up those tests, they would generate PDFs and you could just look at the generated PDFs. Like you could just run the action or push or whatever. And then you wouldn't have to go through the interview again. You could just look at all the generated PDFs because it downloads those.
Michelle, can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
So I don't really understand what you're asking. So when you're saying the variable, so if we have right now, we have a variable and the answers can be yes or no. I can't remember what they're it could be yes or no, and we want them to be yes, no, I don't know. I mean, that would be, is that what you're asking, or are you asking about something different?
So if the variable name doesn't change, right, then that would be fine because the test you would have written would have been for yes and or no, right? And that won't change.
Okay, so you're just talking about the names of the variables.
The names of the variables, whether
Okay.
any are added or any are changed. That is what
Okay.
matters for the tests.
Okay, right. I've added one, but that's it.
Okay. That is currently on the master branch.
I don't know. I don't know if it got merged. I don't know if I did a PR. I need to do a PR for it to get merged, don't I?
Probably. I mean, you
Yeah.
could, well, I don't know how else you do it, but
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, there are
I'm
ways.
never
but not
confident
ones that
enough
you-
to do a PR. I should
Yes.
probably just do it. I'll look at it one more time before I do a PR.
Sure. Okay. Then if y'all want, I can try and make that a goal for this week, if that would help y'all. If it would not, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff for me to do that I can do. I'm just wondering if y'all would find that useful, so that you don't have to run the same, you don't have to run the interview and go through all the questions every time. You can just have the generated PDF.
I don't know how many of us are actually doing that,
Yeah.
I thought
testing.
that's what Quentin was doing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I think it's a question for Quentin to answer if he
Oh.
thinks it's useful.
We can't hear you, Quentin, in case you think you are talking to us.
Hear you or see you.
All right, we might put a pin in that then to come back
Okay.
when we can communicate with Quentin. On the side of summer capacity and summer students, as I mentioned a moment ago, I'm finalizing placements this week. My goal was to have them done by the end of the reading period, which for us is this Friday. We have, let's see, who can I talk about? I can talk about Aubrey. She's coming on board as a project manager, shared project manager role. We also will have working, some of you will remember Joelle. She's going to be working with us again as well. Eleni is also going to be working with us again.
Cool.
And Shauna from the lab, who Bryce will know, who's our CS undergraduate student who was in our lab, will be all people that will be returning with some previous experience with assembly line or doc symbol work. So as I predicted sort of previously, that's sort of about 4 people with some experience before, and so that'll be nice. Joelle helped with the boot camp last time along. My expectation is that we'll try to get the other 3 to help with the new boot camp for this summer group as well. And then we will probably have, I have a number of people, and the question is whether or not they will say yes or have had other engagements, because I had to sort of go through an order of, I only had a limited number of paid slots, 4 credit slots, etc. And so now we're sort of looking at people who would be volunteering with us. And so some of them may or may not be interested in that capacity. They were interested when it could be anything and expressed their flexibility, but their opinions may have changed once it's one sure thing that's just maybe not the thing with money. So we'll see. But yeah, so I expect all told we'll have maybe not quite a dozen folks, which means we should be thinking, and about 4 of them, so about a third of them will be repeat players with us. And so that means, I guess we're looking for about 4 new forms if we want to sort of things to like bring people on board for the boot camp. So that's just something to sort of think about. The experienced folks I think can help out with the boot camp / pull old stuff over the line. And that's sort of where we are there. Yeah, so that's all very, very exciting. And my headphones are about to die, so I'm gonna swap. Right, can people hear me?
Awesome. Yeah,
Okay.
that was great.
And so the expectation there is we'll finalize things for who's going to be involved here at the end of April. May will very much be a down prep time for us. My expectation is that we'll maybe start some of the people late May in anticipation of the main cohort joining us that first week of June. And then going from there. So for all the things that implies, as Quentin was talking about, the sprint towards redoing the waiver, everyone thinking about your favorite form that you want to lobby for being one that people should do, or other places where you think capacity could be useful. Those are all things to think about. And that was it. All right, well, is there any other management-y things, or should we move over to this?
I got an email today. Tomorrow's the deadline for the, I can't remember, there was some competition form. Was it self-represented litigation?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do we want to do that? I don't even know what it involves.
I think we should. I think we should submit the 2 and 9A.
Yeah, I do too. So have you looked at any of it? Do you want to do it? Do you want me to do it?
Nope. I haven't looked at it at all.
Okay.
If that doesn't mean I couldn't do it though. But Yeah, I got the email from Eduardo also.
Okay. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, it seems to me that's a Tactical Tuesday thing.
Yeah, that seems tactical. And it's, if not done now, never done. Since it's due tomorrow, it sounds like.
Yeah. Forms, he didn't do something flashy. Oh no, I thought he did something. Okay. Reminder, deadline is tomorrow. 11 p. Oh, we've got till midnight.
Well, there you go.
Um,
So much time.
submit your entry here.
What does the submission process entail?
Let's see. Here's the submission process in the chat.
So you have to fill out a set of questions.
I don't see any questions yet.
Very down at the bottom, there's a link to a PDF.
Oh, forms, competition, submission.
No, that just seems to be a,
about.
do you agree to be bound by these terms? Blah, 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 public information, what area of law? Tell us why you selected this form. It seems to be like a,
Oh, this is easy. We don't
Yeah.
have to have any kind of. Oh, you have to tell us why you selected this form.
yeah.
Describe
Describe some
obstacles.
obstacles. Is this form available in other languages other than English? There needs to be a third option that says soon.
Yeah.
I guess you can use the other for that. Is this form available in other languages? Please list them. Say not yet, but we are currently translating.
You want to say we've got feedback forms for monitoring and evaluating, and
Yeah.
we have regular. I suppose we could say we've got trainings with DV advocates as well.
Yeah, we have feedback forms and are in communication with the use community. Updating form, it's all iterative development.
Is somebody writing this down? Or are you just,
No, I realize I heard typing in the background
It's
and
being recorded.
That's me, sorry.
oh,
it is being recorded, that's true.
It's
Okay.
being recorded.
Thank
so.
you.
That is why we record things. And what if any processes there for updating the form? That's the iterative development. Probably should throw a link out to all of these wonderful videos, or at least to our YouTube page and say, we meet, do meetings. Anything else you want to tell us?
Since you may upload a copy, presumably you put a link. Is there a link?
Question 4 is public link to form.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
So I assume that would be to the first screen of the form.
Start. Right. The start. Yeah.
Ready.
What? Who will you? Who are you gonna, so who's going to do this? Quentin, are you going to do it?
Oh, very funny.
I can do that.
That'd be great.
All right, there we go. And we have the
Yeah.
recording right here about what we talked about.
I don't have any notes though. So if someone wanted to jot down.
From
We have the
that would be
recording,
more
which is
helpful
going to be
before the
right there,
recording.
and you can also ping me on
yeah.
on Teams too. I think that it's the questions you're not seeing because you're not at your computer, but we didn't
Right.
show the screen either, so you wouldn't have seen it even if you were at your computer. But let's make sure this this link is captured in the Teams.
Yeah. Can we edit the David? Can we can't put comments. I mean, the YouTube video is private now, but we can see. Can I see it?
Well, I'll make it unprivate after this meeting unless someone tells me otherwise. That's been my
Okay.
practice.
Okay. So I was just thinking we could do maybe timestamps for question numbers.
Yeah, it's 31 minutes in right now,
Okay.
so roughly 31 minutes in.
Okay.
I would say roughly 25 minutes in, since this is the end of the conversation.
Mhm.
Quint, if we're done with this, maybe and if Quentin is still there, I may re-ask my question about whether those automated tests, Quentin, are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Are you interested, would automated tests that auto-generate the documents for you, would those be useful to you?
I think they could be, but I am a little wary about the time to create them and to make sure the tests are right.
Sure. I mean, so
it really depends on how like uninvolved I would need to be in the process, I guess.
You would be uninvolved in the process. I mean, it would be good to know what scenarios you would like to try. And then I just need the JSON object at the end of an interview. So at some point when you run it to the end with the answers that you want, send over the JSON object, and then I will play around with that. If it wouldn't be valuable to you, then I might not bother with it. But if it could be valuable, then I'll see how hard it is to get it up and running. Does that make sense?
If you can just like lay out, so if it's just downloading the JSON output at the end of the interview for a test that I'm already going to be running manually, that doesn't sound too hard. But if you could just like lay out what that is, then we can give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the JSON. It's just the show variables object. Do you want me to write you a note about that?
If you want to like just put an issue or a note on Teams or something that says what you actually need, but otherwise I'm trying to remember it and then I have to track you down to
Walking,
get what
right?
that is.
So you don't remember
That's
what
where it could take.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make a note on Teams or wherever, or GitHub, I guess, for the 209A.
GitHub makes sense, doesn't it?
Okay, I'll make an issue on GitHub. Sounds good. That's all I had. David? Oh, we lost David. Okay, so stand-up time.
Are we recording on a new video?
It says it's live on YouTube. It doesn't say whether
we're not
recording
video
or not.
though.